So,
Is the meeting over?
Yeah, we don't have a.
I mean, I want to make it as easy as possible for you.
Well,
15 minutes right into the meeting.
we got.
Got them riled up now, Mike.
Brace yourself.
Just tell them about how you're taking wetland and, the sideliners were too expensive.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
The cameraman ready?
It should be all set. Let's hit it.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the City of Muskego Landfill Standing Committee for July 1st, 2019 at 5:16 p.m. Would the secretary please read the roll?
Sure. Annalise Smith,
Present.
Patrick Murray,
Absent?
Mark Slocum,
Here.
Michael Calling,
Here.
Harvey Schweitzer,
Here.
Don Matiga Sr.,
Absent?
Alderman Eileen Madden,
Here.
Greg Burmeister,
Here.
Roland Kiefer,
Here.
Jay is not here, and Mike Hackney is here, and Joe Spears is here. Scott Traeger is also here, recording secretary, and I got the guests written down of Kelly from Waukesha County and Kendra from Waukesha County, and then Scott and Stacy. Just want to make sure, and their address, which is South 103 West 14459 Loomis Drive, Muskego, Wisconsin 53150.
Good. Statement of public notice?
Sure. This meeting was posted in accordance with the Wisconsin open meeting laws.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the April 1st, 2019 meeting. How do you wish to move? Approve. Well, okay. I think Eileen was at first.
Second.
Gotcha, Mike? Corrections, addition, discussion on the minutes as submitted? Upon hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The minutes are accepted unanimously. Open forum. At this time, we provide an opportunity for citizens to address the committee on issues relevant to the current landfill operation. Limit is 5 minutes per person. Any comments or anything you'd like to say now? We will have another open session at the end, and also we kind of run it a little informal, so if we get into discussions on odor and other things, we'll let you get it straightened out. Compliance officer report.
I've continued with audit since the last meeting. As of the last meeting, we were discussing the odors. Mike engaged and placed additional wells. And then after the wells were placed, he was able to place the collection lines, which just finished Friday or today?
Last week, Thursday.
So you got the last well online this week. So when I was here to audit, I was here in the morning, when the audit was complete, there was one well that wasn't connected, and they're managing waste step for it. I noticed a distinctly different odor at the active area. You know, it had been a heavy smell of what I would call baby diapers and rotten eggs, H2S. H2S is not a common, it's not a high strength component of their gas usually. So it's, I led that to believe that the gas built up in the wells for quite a period of time. Do you want the vacuum as now?
On the hill?
Yeah.
65 inches.
Did you get
All the
new
way
wells
around,
done?
or just,
That's what's available, so no, not all the way around.
okay.
Did you do it? You know what,
To
you
the back?
opened up the new wells too? They were at 20% when I was out for the last audit.
Last audit, they probably,
Well, I'm talking available vacuum. In other
Okay.
words, all right, so it starts at 65 down here, and it can be up as high as 50 inches in the back.
okay,
Right now, we're at about 30 inches in the back.
on what was just installed and
Yes.
connected.
So then it all depends on how much you put on the well, based on percent of methane.
Okay,
So you'll have 30 inches available to you. You could take it to 30 inches if the well will take it. If the well doesn't, you could have 2 inches, 5 inches, 10 inches, whatever it takes.
What does that mean when?
And you base it all off of the amount of, the percentage of methane, oxygen, and nitrogen and CO2. There's 4 things you're looking at. So what we like to do is try to keep each well right anywhere from 48 to 52% methane. So not every well is equal. So it all depends on what that well is going to give you. Those newer wells, generally because they're new, they take a little more time. Just because they're new. But as you bring them on, as you raise them up, they generally get better.
okay. When you say 48 to 52% methane, what's your oxygen content?
It should be less than 1%.
Should be.
Yeah.
What is your threshold? 3%, 5%,
The plant will only take combined 2%.
2%, and then it shuts down?
Then it goes to the flare. Right. Then
Okay.
you're not sending it to MMSD.
Okay.
The inches are inches of water that the vacuum can hold.
Oh, that's what I was, okay, what he meant by inches.
Inches of water.
Okay.
When you're moving liquids, we measure it in mercury. When you're moving air, you usually measure it in water.
Okay.
If we had enough vacuum to move 50 inches of mercury, the hill would probably have sucked in nice and tight by now.
You'd have lots of airspace.
The whole pipe would be sticking on the ground, right?
Right.
There's one seep still open with the sump below it, so that if it does leak, it gets pulled back up. When I've gone around, I haven't noticed any appreciable odor from that. And the last thing with the
Where is that seat that's open?
It's right here, right above the.
Right above the road?
No, right above the water. The road comes out around here.
Okay.
The temporary set pond is right here.
That surface water ditch, we
Yep.
looked at, it's above that.
Pardon me?
It's above that.
Okay.
And so is the sump that catches it. It hasn't run into it. But it hasn't been dry enough for them to get a piece of equipment out there. It's been dry enough for you to do
It's
anything.
right where that track loader was sitting.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned it. I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
It's right there.
Gotcha.
And for my own future use and so on, I added the total number of wells and the wells under vacuum for the audit. So I will have that in future audits. So I can track when the well field, where and when the well field's in use.
Okay.
Instead of the general statement of, oh, we've got the wells on here, we've got the wells on over there.
You'll have a number
Mhm.
by area?
Yep, and then I'll use the map in the back to locate the rough idea of where the ones that are turned down are.
Okay. Anything else?
No, like I said, I believed at the beginning that the implementation of the wells would take care of the odor. As far as I'm aware, the odor complaints have dropped off. If you don't, I can only report on what's shared with me. So, but I mean, in
Well,
terms of,
they have dropped
Yeah,
off, but
it-
we do still get them.
I was going to say in terms. Well, I'm talking about since last week because I had steady complaints up until Tuesday of last week,
Let me tell you when the last one we got was. It wasn't too long.
and usually
I thought it was like last week, Thursday, but I wasn't.
It might be.
And usually the ones I get are copied with Scott too, so
Right.
it's very rare I get one anymore just from the clerk.
So if this all dries out around here, will that help the odor situation?
Well,
As things,
So-
if
so
things
that's-
dry out, so to speak, just generally?
when it's truly dry, Mike has the potential to have gas leaks because if the hill isn't sealed, no matter what vacuum he puts on it, he won't move the gas.
Uh-huh.
So the gas nearer to the places it can escape, it will.
And that's the odor.
Right. But, for the most part, when it dries up, he can do the patchwork and so on that's needed for the seep. The seep, anytime you have an opening in the hill, you have leachate and gas release. Even if you only have gas release, gas is saturated at all temperatures. So when it escapes the hill, it's wet. So the instant it expands into the atmosphere and cools off, it drops liquid. So even if it's not actively leaking out, you're still losing liquid from the gas when it leaves the landfill. So you always have leachate and gas together.
So you're saying the gas has got the smell,
Mm-hmm.
the methane does not smell,
Correct.
so.
And it's less than 1% of what's in the gas.
Right.
I mean, when you ask, what's the percentage of oxygen, the gas is predominantly nitrogen rich. And then almost half, usually, and it sounds like you've been getting over half, of methane, which is very good outtake. But 1% of that or less is the actual odors we experience.
Yeah. If you've got 48 to 52% methane, you probably have 42% carbon dioxide.
30. Yeah.
30.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're going to have 10% nitrogen,
Should be a little less than 10,
a little less than 10,
and you like to be under 1%.
under 1 for oxygen.
Okay.
And you don't measure water vapor direct, or do you? You don't measure that direct. That all makes sense now?
Yeah. That was explained very well.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on the compliance officer report? Status of projects, clay extraction, you gonna be doing any this year?
No. We'll be hauling some off-site every once in a while, but that'll come from that
Pile?
storage pile that we have to the south.
Okay.
Yeah, you had 2 ponds since the last meeting, right? Two people that wanted your clay
Yeah.
for ponds.
Yep.
The clay's so tight, people use it to make the ponds for
Basins or whatever.
the rock, right? That was one of
The rock took quite a
Yeah.
bit.
So he has had some backhauls. Well, not backhauls, they're just direct.
They're just
clay
straight,
purchases.
straight out hauls.
Mhm.
But you don't know what those are from month to month or
No.
quarter to quarter. Household hazardous waste.
Reports coming around.
I forgot my glasses again.
I remember my.
I used to magnify on my phone last
What
time.
are you thinking of?
So
I
I
know
would
that you
prefer
work
to
in
look at
accounting,
the
you
side
can't
of
read
the
it with a
charts.
microscope.
And it's bigger. So year to date, we've got a 9% increase in participation, but only a 3% in total pound increase. And costs are a modest increase, I would say. So now, this only goes through the end of April. We've been having some delays in getting the numbers of participants, so I was not able to include May data in this report. That will be on the next report when we have our next meeting. But as you know, May, June, that's really when we get into our more high-use time periods. But I would say April was on trend, average growth. So we're in good shape so far.
You haven't had any of the satellite events yet, right?
They started in May. So none of the satellites are reflected in this.
Okay. I'm not going to remember for the next meeting, so I got a quick question. How does the labor work for the satellite ones? Is it a set fee, or is it different every time they send you an invoice?
I would want to look into that to have a better answer for you.
Okay.
It's variable by the number of people required to be at the event, and some of the events we know require more. But the person charge should be the same each time, because the events are the same length.
Right.
It's not like they're stopwatching, so.
Elise, the only place that you have the 219 data by month is on this back sheet right here,
Correct.
down here in the left hand, okay.
And then the chart, the long chart on the bottom, this, we're
Yep.
gonna go through April, this is 2019 stuff as well. But yeah, the real in-depth look is,
Okay, okay, thank you.
In the tiniest footprint.
Yeah. Questions, comments on household hazardous waste? Thank you, Elise. MMSD project, are we done with that? Can we remove it now? What do we need to do? What do we need to do in terms
Talking
of?
about this building, when you refer to MMSD?
I'm talking about gas delivery.
You want to eliminate it, or what, the discussion of it, or?
What is the activity associated with it? Does that make any sense? Obviously it doesn't, or you wouldn't have that strange look on your face.
I guess the main thing to watch is flow and how much we're delivering to MMSD, which kind of tells you a little bit, how we're doing with the hill. So, I mean, so as the
Okay.
flow goes up, that's telling you that we're delivering more gas and or burning more gas when they're not taking it.
Okay.
So that's always a good thing for everyone.
Can you provide us with some rough summary data at each meeting so that we
Sure.
can see what this is and the numbers and trending, if there is such a thing as a trend?
Yeah, I mean, we meet quarterly, right?
Right.
So I'll give you what we did that quarter.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
By month.
Beautiful.
All right.
Anybody else by month, okay? I don't want to be just the one answering.
Just these
That's
flows.
to show what's
Well, we
burned
just
and
want to know.
or-
Yeah, that'll
the
show you
different
what we
flows.
deliver.
Yeah, what's it doing?
Amber.
What's happening?
What's it delivering? Yeah, okay.
You know.
Trend is up, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever recorded a back step.
No, it's trending upward.
Does that continue with additional wells, or that'll make?
Exactly.
The more wells, more
Yep.
gas?
Right.
Okay.
How long before you expect to start to see the first, okay, phase one is nothing, phase two, phase three? That's the oldest one you have right now that has MSW in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, 1 and 2 are,
Strictly demolition,
yeah, for the most part.
wood and brick and concrete.
Right. Which are the ones right out here. under
Right.
The window.
How long or how much longer would 3 be expected to produce?
I'd have to go back in the history to see what we actually took in 3 and 4. My guess is 5, 6, and obviously 7 and 8 still be in 9. Producing for quite a while. So 3,
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I'd have to look.
Okay.
See what we took back in whatever year that would have been, or 3 years, probably.
Yeah.
You can
If you-
ballpark it with the regs. 15, it's got roughly 15 years of life so far, and 15 more years before, if it was a single cell, it would be expected a 30-year lifespan.
3 was a single cell.
No, I mean if it didn't have, wasn't tied into everything else. You know, if it was closed out in its own in a vacuum, you know, even without any kind of testing and anything, it would fall into that 30-year category.
It'll produce for 30 years?
Probably more.
Okay.
But with the aggressive gas collection and so on, that reduces it.
But what's the curve of that production? You know, is that, a parabolic curve? Does it have a peak point and then fall back off?
The
What?
K curve is parabolic. It does have a peak point and falls off.
Okay, and
My guess, 3 is heading
Yeah.
downward. Just,
does your equipment allow you to break that out by cell or not?
like wells, is that what you mean by equipment?
No.
Like where the wells are located, or?
No. For example, say 3 has 5 wells in it. I don't remember how many it has. Are those 5 grouped so that you know that whatever is coming off those is coming off of strictly phase 3?
We know what the flow is on each individual well.
Oh. Okay.
So if I know what wells are in phase 3, cell 3,
Gotcha.
I can tell you exactly the amount of flow coming off of that area.
Okay. Okay.
But what's that got to do? We're looking at the total flow is what we.
Yeah,
We're looking at total flow, but at some point, you're gonna wanna start to make a projection of what flow is. Right now, the flow is on the increase. At some point, it's gonna peak, and then it's gonna go down.
Yeah, but then you got the other ones that are going up, so.
Well, at some point,
And increase more than what you're losing over there.
no, at some point, you will actually lose more than you gain. Can't help it.
But aren't you, if you're adding,
But what's that gonna do to the overall project of MSD?
I don't know.
Well, the project's got a lifespan.
Yeah.
no, it's like 25 years.
Yeah.
You'll be producing methane beyond 25 years here.
Yeah.
And at this point, you'll be assuming we'll be flaring it, but
Right.
by then they'll come up with a new idea.
Or another
of how to
source,
use it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll ban organics from landfills.
Or.
Dream on, young man, dream on.
Or you'll invest in some turbines and create electricity. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, that's what I mean, they'll come up with a new source of how to use it if the MSD doesn't use it. But
Yeah.
why wouldn't they renew? Because they need the gas.
Or we'll
Okay.
sell it to the neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Free heat for everybody.
I didn't say free.
Electronic recycling, going good?
Yeah.
Okay. Residential drop-off,
Busy.
busy is right.
Yeah,
Any
it's a
problems?
busy place. No,
no problems?
no.
Okay. Well water protection area, any issues there?
No, no.
Okay. Plan modification issues.
The only one will be coming in the next month or 2 for the moving of the compost area. That'll be the plan mod.
And isn't there one required for the
No.
brush wood area? No?
Oh. The compost area?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
As we said.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was thinking where that stuff is all stacked up in Wind Road and everything else.
That's all moving, or is it just?
All, you'll have the concrete there. Concrete will stay there. Concrete plant
Now, where's that gonna go?
on top of future parkland.
And that can go.
Compost only. Yard waste only.
And when is that expected to be approved?
Within the next couple of months, I would think by the next time we meet, we should have approval, because I've got the funding to go ahead and move it. Corporate gave us the dollars to do it, so it'll happen early fall.
Okay.
You were gonna move the residential drop-off.
That'll all happen when I move the compost there. I mean, I'm set over there where we wanna put it, other than signage and notifications and stuff like that. But I don't wanna have to build a bin like this over there, because it probably don't have the room. So what I'd like to do is, when we move the compost area, all the residents will just drive directly back to the pad, to the compost pad, dump it off and leave. And then all I'll have out front for the residents will just be the containers, and that's it. Which will give me more room for more containers. But if I have to build a bin like this one, it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah. Property protection, sociological?
We closed on one in spring on 8 Mile. And there's another one that came up, which would be down on 45, quite a ways south on 45.
South of the block plant?
I don't think it's south of, it's Sanford is the last name. I don't think it's that far south.
Okay.
That's north. It'd be north of the cement plant.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. New business, discussion update, possible action to be taken on any or all of the following. There's nothing listed. Continuing business, discussion update and possible action may be taken on any or all of the following. Updates on odor complaints. Harvey, you want to start us off?
Pretty much haven't, they haven't been as intense, but this morning it smelled. It wasn't horrible, but you could smell it on 45. Pretty much in the past 2 weeks, it's been humid, rainy, easterly winds. I've been smelling it over by the place. Evenings and early morning. Daytime, I don't think I ever smelled it during the day. So I don't know what the magic is, other than the heavy air is pushing it down, letting it move around.
What about nighttime at all?
Nighttime is 9:30 at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's bad. Probably worse at the 2 o'clock time than it is at 9.
Really?
Yeah, no, to me, it's the darker hours that create the issue. And it's, for myself, I just kind of get sick and tired of sending notes saying it smells. So I don't do it anymore. It's just, I don't know. It's just something is, and hopefully, like saying, the new wells are going to make a difference. Something has slightly made a difference lately, but I don't know. I'd sent Mike an email questioning the amount of water, because they're bringing in more loads of liquid loads, and with all the rain, is that, I don't know how that affects our landfill. Can that generate, because of the materials, you put a daily cover on, and it covers as much as it can, but you have a big chunk of concrete or a big sleeve of plastic is there, can't do anything about it. When that moisture gets to that, just the last couple of days we had 3 inches of rain again.
Yeah.
Does that open something to the landfill? Is that a potential that's, it would make sense to me that it would do that. But
Okay, but right now you've got the most open area for absorption of liquid or rain than you've had last year or the year before. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
So, and obviously whenever it rains, you get more into the landfill than you would have 2 years ago.
Right.
More material gets wet, is that what you're saying?
No, there's just more area open.
That's okay.
And it might help,
So probably the biggest difference is where the road used to run up the middle of the landfill, it doesn't anymore. So if you look at all the slope above that road, that would hit the ditch and then end up in the set basin. Everything that you saw, that slope up above where we were working, now that rainwater, because we have to pitch, we can't have any ponding on top of the landfill, which is where I took you up at the very top, and you saw it was all covered with clay. So that's, we pitched that years ago to the south. So drain to the south, hit the ditch for the old road that went up the middle, and then end up in the set basin. With the road being gone, that water comes off the top and ends up right where we're working right now. I mean, we can try to redirect it and have with berms and stuff on the slope so that we get it going back into the basins and stuff, but it's been so hard to even build anything in the last 2 months.
because of being so wet.
And all it does is generate more leachate for us. So it's beneficial for us to get it to go to the basins instead
Right.
of
Yes.
hitting the garbage. But to me, that's probably been the biggest difference over the last year. I mean, other than the liquids that we take in, is that all that surface water from the very top and that slope now go directly into our working, what I call the working phase.
See, it makes sense that you can control, and you would control how much comes in, but you have no control of
Right.
the massive rain.
Right.
And so does that kind of make sense that all this extra water is
Makes total sense.
creating this issue?
Yeah,
Well, it's sure, whether it's creating it, it's sure feeding it.
right. I mean, any type of moisture with a waste mass, Joe will tell you, will generate methane quicker.
Okay. How much liquid waste are you bringing in?
I do a ratio of liquid to MSW and C and D, the solids to the liquids. And the company has a ratio where they like to keep you at a 7-to-1 ratio. So you got 7 tons of MSW to a gallon of liquids.
7 tons to a 1 gallon?
To a gallon of liquid, right.
Wow.
Because they don't want you to get too soft.
Too wet, too soggy, yeah.
So I do that at the end of each month. I did it for last month. I do not account for rainfall. I don't know how to, I mean, I
How would you
could.
judge that?
Yeah, so you look at it as what you take in. And I think we're at a 9-to-1 for last month and stuff. Some months we're at a 12-to-1. Other months we're at 7-to-1. So I think on average, we're probably right around a 10-to-1 ratio, which as far as the corporation is concerned,
It's real good.
it's fine. There's not an issue with it.
But it said that the exposed face is more than you've had in the past.
Top, or the face to me is the slope. The top is what I call the floor.
Working face?
Yeah, the floor. So you can get the trucks in and out, you know, they need a bigger area, but the working face is always the slope of what you're working that day. That's the face. The floor is what I consider where they all come in and drive, and they're able to back in and dump wherever we have our working face. But yeah, there is more of that than there has been in the past, but that's, I mean, I gotta be able to get trucks around too.
Right, right.
And that top is where we can use the ADC, alternate daily cover, which is approved by the state, and that's generally foundry sands. The face is done with not only foundry sands, but it's done with on-site clay too. If I put clay on the actual working floor, I'll never get a truck in and out of here.
And that is one thing that's improved over the last, even as wet as it is, the tracking out to the street by your facility.
Yeah, we don't because of all the asphalt that we have. I mean, In my opinion, the tracking on 45 has never been an issue at Emerald Park.
But yeah,
Not
that-
from the waste haulers, it was from
I think we had
construction.
issues with clay trucks at one.
Clay trucks, hauling clay.
I think before my time, to be honest with
Well, you were across the street.
you. When I say before, my time here,
I mean, that guy was there across the street, that was you.
So you think the impact to the new wells is going to be 100% known when?
I can tell you that just based on today and the last time I was here, it's a huge difference day or night. I mean, it's just completely different. But believe it or not, there was more odor down here around this building than there was up on the face when we went up there. Why, I don't know, but big difference.
I don't think you can ever judge the odor during peak sun. It just,
Yeah,
I
you're
really
probably
don't.
right. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's gotten better. I don't know, you guys have an opinion on that?
Pretty much agree with what you said. Slightly better.
Slightly. And in what time period?
I think he's pretty much got it covered.
Around 9,000.
It's yeah, right when it's starting to get dark. It's when the winds slow down, and then, and like you said, the humidity seems to have a big deal with it. It's got to be a humid night and a really soft, slow east wind, and then you almost don't want to sit outside. So.
Well, I think during the daytime, you know, if there is any odor, it has a tendency to go off. And you're not going like this, where like as soon as you talk about heavy air, like in the early morning or in the evening, that's where you're going to get it lingering at that ground level and moving like that, you know.
Exactly, that's, you know, I don't think, I'm sure there is, but I don't think that, maybe in the mornings, it's when you're opening the site. But I'm usually going through here about 6:15ish, 6:30. It's probably getting a little early to have
Yeah,
pushed
it-
that order over there already.
they're between 6:30 and 7.
So it's just the remnants of, don't know, it's, like I say, it's gotten a little better. Hopefully something can change, make that better when those wells come up to,
Full speed.
yeah.
Yeah, as tired as you are of doing this, Harvey, for the next month, can you kind of send out an email when it's hit a threshold of high odor? Otherwise, we're going to assume it's good from your standpoint. Can you do that?
I'll send out that when I smell it,
Yeah, that's it.
anybody else can drive around the next day.
Yeah.
But again, it's never, it's not when I come home from work. It's when I go home later in the day, or let the dogs out at night. And quite often in the morning. I mean, that's always has been a telltale. But yeah, I can certainly do that again.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
The gases are heavier than air, so if you've got, you know, sundown, cool night, it's just going to roll wherever it's being released from off the landfill, and just roll in the direction of the wind.
Yeah. Well, it's,
Because starting from this time of year, it should have been even earlier, we should see very little wind coming out of the east, even in the evening. It should mostly be west.
Well, that's not the case this year because the fronts go through and that wind changes around and it comes out of the east and off the lake and.
Yeah, I was saying we've had more east winds
And that's
this
why I
spring.
said should have. This has
And that's
been
why
an
it's so
unusual
cold.
year. I'm hoping that July will spin that back to what it has been historically.
With westerly winds prevail, you know, there ain't no doubt, but
Used
Waste
to.
management won't complain if you stink. Waste management won't complain if you stink. They never say anything.
waste never complains?
Never complains about this site having an odor.
No.
If the wind blows the other way, waste won't complain. That's what I was telling Mike.
Do we ever complain?
No, of course not. You guys would never do that.
It'd be kinda hard to start throwing rocks at Glass House, wouldn't it?
I could complain every east wind.
All right. Wait till you find out who your boss is before you start doing that. Any other comments on odors or anything? Are you sending out emails also when you smell odors?
I have not.
Okay. It would be helpful if there was somebody in that area that would be willing to at least do that, just so we know what's going on.
Sure.
And to see if we're getting an improvement. Because 2 and 3 weeks ago, the complaints were hot and heavy. They were really heavy.
It seems like it's almost too early to even say if it's better or not. That's,
Right.
so it's hard to judge so far. You know, probably need a little more time. But if I were to guess, yes, slightly better.
Any other comments, questions on odors? Review payments from committee funds. There's a 3-page attachment. Any questions? Okay, one more time.
Not worried about
Jeez.
the money. Harvey.
Not my money.
Confirm the next meeting date, October 7th, 2019 at 5 o'clock. $5 early, is that okay?
5 would be much better than 4. Some people got to work for it.
You just still
What's your
think-
excuse?
He asked for that.
Oh, I always get it from him on my end of business.
That's right.
He asked for that.
Communications and other business is authorized by law.
Did you say they were interested in law?
Thank you, Rich.
That'll be something to mention now, so it gets talked to.
The Albrecht Farm,
Albrecht Farm,
I
yes?
think we would like to make sure that they're on the well sampling list. We're not sure if they're on or not.
I can check.
You know, we get the notification, I just don't, I think we've just been declining, and I'm not sure if my parents have ever done it. I think they decline as well.
Didn't you have a-
For whatever reason.
Did you have a question about the water? Didn't your wife ask something about the water?
I was just curious about it. I'm learning, so. The
Direction of flow, she was
up and
curious.
coming.
Okay. Well, that's okay, just, love testing's free, right? I mean.
It
It is,
doesn't,
but they may not have turned in their things, is what
Oh,
we're
okay.
thinking.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the
And-
farmhouse was,
Yeah, this year will.
been rented,
Oh, okay.
and we're thinking that's not,
The
Rental-
well sampling,
Yeah, I know, they sent out a card.
no, but it uses it, so on this side of the street, it's a random number generator, and they
Oh.
select the numbers.
Oh, okay.
But I'm fairly certain if their well hasn't been on there, Frank will put them as a primary to make sure it gets sampled.
oh yeah,
All right.
but
if
there's
it
no-
hasn't been on.
Right.
in a
yeah.
row. The brothers had 3 houses in a row, so,
Oh, okay.
but they may have all turned them down, so.
Right, now, the Albrecht Farm, which one are you talking about? Isn't there one down off of Old Loomis and then one over here on 8 Mile or not?
It is on, the one on Loomis Drive here,
Okay,
that's just west of the wetlands. Next to the Cronin, west of the old Cronin farm.
okay. here if you want to look it up. Yeah, I can take a look right after the meeting. I've got the listing here, so
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay.
Anything else in the communications? Citizen commentary? Anything? Okay. At that point, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Mike? Eileen seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:01 p.m.
Got a Dodge van too. That's what you got, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Just the same thing I had?
Oh,
That
no.
was caravan?
Yeah.
I like it.
Order some
Um,
plans, just send me an email.
I was going to.
Yeah.
When it dries out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And before I told you too.
Yeah.
No change from last week.
I figured it was, but, you know, I got a new
Change
one now.
change the temperature, the wind direction, whatever it is, send it to me. I'll sign it.